What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knots and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns. 5 terrifying stories from Reddit. Number 5. This happened when I was about 12 years old. My parents were out for a couple hours and I was at home alone with my younger brother. Everything was cool until I heard a loud bang outside. I peeked out the window and saw a random woman. She was completely dressed in black, had greasy hair, and her eyes looked lifeless and gave off a creepy vibe. I don't know if she saw me, but then she started to violently shake our front gate while screaming like a maniac. I was totally creeped out and my brother asked me what was going on. I tried to calm him down and took him to his room. I then peeked out again, but the woman wasn't there anymore. I thought everything was okay, but then I heard knocks at the front door. I tried to keep it cool so my brother wouldn't be scared, but I was desperate. I ran to get my phone while hearing the screams and knocks. I called my dad and told him that a woman was trying to get inside, but he told me he would get home as soon as he could. Seconds later, the screams just stopped. I see the woman outside calmly leave like nothing ever happened. A few minutes later, my parents came home. I told them everything and they said they would call the police if the woman ever returned. Thankfully, she never did. Number 4. Right outside my apartment, smoking a cigarette, an unknown person snuck around the corner and sprayed me with pepper spray while I was looking at my phone. I could make out a tall, thin man with a backpack walking away with his hands in his pockets before I lost the ability to keep my eyes open. There were no other people on the sidewalk in either direction. I didn't see his face and he didn't say anything or try to take anything from me or even grab me. He didn't even stick around to watch me be messed up from it. He just walked away like nothing happened. I'm very thankful that I was able to feel for my keys and get back into my building. But then I started to realize that I could get permanent damage from this if I didn't get to a sink soon. But I couldn't find the key to my studio. I was starting to not be able to breathe and I pounded on every door I could feel until my neighbor, whom I had never met before, opened up for me. She let me burst into her bathroom and toss water everywhere. I felt so terrible just commandeering her bathroom and bringing a smell like that into her place, but I'll be eternally grateful to this lady for helping me and calling the police. They never found the guy and I'm kind of wondering if this was a random attack or if the guy was out there waiting for me. Number 3. It's 8 p.m. and dark outside, and I'm home alone. My fiance was at a hockey game. I'm in the bathroom with the door closed and the blow dryer going, so I can't really hear anything going on around me. That is, until I hear one of the dogs start to howl. I stop the blow dryer, listen, thinking the dogs are fighting again. But then I hear a faint knock and the dogs start going crazy. Barking, howling, jumping into the bay window so bad that I thought they'd break it. I look out my bedroom window as it was the closest view to the front door for me. And lo and behold, there's 2 men standing there wearing hoodies. They start knocking louder and this time my 2-year-old husky jumps from the bay window to the front door and starts growling and ramming his body into the door. I'm watching this from my bedroom as the dog jumps into the door and one of the men jumps back startled. He then looks at the other guy and they just walk away. They didn't stop at any of the other houses. Number 2. This happened about 8 years ago in Germany. My daughters were 4 and 2.5. It was a very nice morning, so I decided to take them to a little mall to walk around and do some shopping. My girls are always very well behaved and never ran away from me. Usually we would always hold hands when walking around in an open area with many people. But on this day, the mall was almost empty. Still, the girls stayed on my hands. I noticed a man passing by. He looked at my girls with a very stern look that gave me a bad vibe. I just brushed it off and kept walking. We wanted to go to a shoe store, and the specific store had a very cute play area that the girls liked to go to. As we entered the store, they asked if they could go to the play area, and I told them yes, and they took off. At that exact moment, the strange man burst into the store and speed walks past me towards my girls. He was absolutely focused on getting to them and quickly. I instantly started yelling and ran past him, and I told the girls to come to me. I'm never very stern with them, but I guess they sensed that I was extremely serious and came up. The guy was thrown off by my yelling and I got to my daughters before he did. He then just turned around and ran right out of the store. I was so shaken. A store worker came up to me and asked what happened and I told her. I waited for a while until I felt like myself again, enough to leave the store and the mall. We never saw him again. Number 1. I was 19 and living with my boyfriend. We had a suite on the 3rd floor of a condo building, and our next door neighbor was an older cab driver, about 50 years old. He constantly had really young, sketchy looking women coming and going. We minded our own business, but things got a little bit weird one day. I was taking groceries in and forgot my keys on the outside of my door for about 3 minutes. I heard a door slam outside, and then I suddenly remembered that I forgot my keys, so I went out. They weren't there. The only person whose door we could hear being slammed would have been the neighbors. We knocked on his door profusely to see if he had them, but he wouldn't answer. My boyfriend was very paranoid and wouldn't let it go, so he called the building security. Security knocked on every single door in the building to ask if someone saw our keys, and the only neighbor that didn't answer was the cab driver. After a long evening of worrying that this creep had our apartment keys, we just changed our locks, which of course was extremely expensive as it wasn't regular business hours. The next morning, our keys had been shoved under our mat. A year later, he was arrested for child pornography possession, and we never saw him again. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.